Hello, everyone. My name is Agyeiwaa Okodie, also known as Lavette. I've been away for a while, but I'm glad to be back, and I'm glad to be on this learning path. Took a little break, but it was well needed, and I'm back revived and willing to learn from you as you also learn from me, so we grow together. Today's topic of discussion is really one that I title Beware of Empathy. I know empathy is a word that we've been throwing around lately in the face of our study or our journey with emotional intelligence, compassion, and all these qualities that are very noble qualities that make us a better version of ourselves. And without digressing, I want us to just take a look at empathy. We all know what empathy means. It's putting yourself in somebody else's shoes and trying to feel what they're feeling, and giving understanding and meaning to it. But as I go along this journey, one of the things I notice with empathy and with us as individuals is that empathy, as much as it's noble and it's feeling or trying to understand what somebody else is feeling, can also be biased. You can have empathy towards one person versus another. And I'm speaking because this is my truth, and I am trying to understand myself when it comes to the balance between empathy and logic, and where the rubber meets the road, in essence. And when does one override the other? And in this journey, I've searched, and I have tried to go in a little deeper, and I realized that yes, I have been guilty of being prejudiced in my show of empathy, where if I favor someone, yes, in speaking or hearing their truth, I might try to give more meaning and understanding to them versus somebody else I may not necessarily care for. And it's something that I'm trying to work on, being more objective in my display of empathy. I guess that's one way to put it. The bringing objectivity into the area or the arena of empathy. I mean, if you have your child that you dote on who cries for candy, you might just feel bad and issue that candy after hours of crying because you feel for their pain of the cry. But then, is it really right for them to have that candy just because they cried? So we need to dig deeper and delve into ourselves and find out the truth within ourselves, why we do what we do, even the so-called good deeds. Why do we do them? Do we do them from a superficial standpoint, or do we do them because they're really needed, or it's the right thing to do? I guess I should say. If it's the right thing to do, then no worries. It should go cut across board, whether you favor one or you don't. You do it But in our human existence, we have to all admit that we are subject to bias. So we must be careful. And this is where awareness plays a key role when you're dealing with other individuals or other humans. You must be careful how you display your empathy. Are we displaying empathy because we see someone in distress, not knowing the reason for that distress if they brought it upon themselves? Or do we display empathy with just cause? Something that I'm learning and I want to be wise about, because empathy should cut across the board. It shouldn't be one-sided. It shouldn't be lopsided. Of course, it should not be just something that we do because we favor one group of people versus the other. And I think I dare to say this is why wars do happen. This display of understanding, affection, or bias towards one group versus the other. So we must be careful in our judgment calls. Who we give judgment to and who we don't give judgment to. Of course, when we display empathy, we try to do it without judgment. But I dare to say there has to be some level of judgment to bring balance to the equation. But the question is, our conscience is clear when we use that judgment call. So I want to challenge us today to question ourselves in times where we have displayed empathy, and who we displayed it to and how it was, and if that person met the criteria for receiving